Hello and welcome to episode 2 of this If You Know Your History World Cup extravaganza. We are talking about the greatest World Cup ever, the World Cup in Mexico 1970, for so many reasons. Greatest team, greatest goal, greatest game, greatest everything really. Always universally agreed in football. And we're going to tell you why that is. And we've just, obviously, I hope you've listened to the first episode. If you haven't, we're going to just start talking now with the first game.
Yeah, we only did 400 years in the first episode, John. That was extraordinarily lazy, I thought, on our part.
But there's a reason now why the 1970 World Cup. There's something I wanted to mention as well, because we're going to talk about the first game, which will make you laugh. Well, after we've given this big build-up as being the greatest World Cup ever. As a man who's made a few films in my time, worked in television, the light is really important there. So when it's filmed, it's obviously a lot of it's filmed on film, traditional film.
Yeah.
But the light in Mexico, it gives it an almost ethereal sort of look.
When I remember it, as we've talked about, and you talked about it in terms of, you know, your first game, 74, and the vivid orange of the Dutch shirts. My memory, because it was kind of that pixelated screen.
Yeah.
As you just said there, it's a sort of ethereal, surreal look about it. It glowed.
It did.
But you then get these close-ups, and suddenly the green of the grass against the sky blue, say, of the Brazilian
exactly
shorts.
that.
My word,
colour.
Yeah,
it imprints itself on your brain. And what's great to sort of tell people is football is a world sport now, and the World Cup itself has become this sort of leviathan. We all understand it, and the way we play football. And I know there's a great argument. A lot of people saying that there's certainly the Dutch in the '74 and what Johan Cruyff did and he took to Spain has become a way of playing football that is sort of permeated across the world. And there are lots of arguments saying that it's fantastic, and lots of arguments saying that we've lost something, because what this World Cup would have been like, and what people have to remember is, each country had a character.
Yeah.
There was a very specific way everybody played. Now, obviously, the cliches of the way the Brazilians played, they sort of play this joyous sunshine football, beach football. The Italians played with Catenaccio, which is sort of this defensive. The British played 4-4-2, two wingers, big bloke up front, little number 10. But it was true. There was a kind of a personality with each country, Mark, wasn't there? So when the World Cup was played out, it was like a battle of the nations, wasn't it?
And in particular, yes, because that was the point. Nowadays, it is because it's homogenous.
Yes,
you're going to have footballers who play all over the world.
Absolutely,
who go back to represent their countries, and of course there will be stylistically still that personalities amongst individual nations. You're looking at clashes here. You're looking at teams who've never seen that happen before on a football pitch.
Absolutely,
first time they encounter it, arguably, happens in Mexico.
It does. So, again, we're not talking cliches, but it's the truth. We all expected West Germany to play a certain way. They had brilliant players. They were brilliantly efficient. They were fit. They kept going till the end. If it got to penalties, look out.
Yes.
This was something that was built up over decades. This comes back. That's why
the only anomaly was 66, really, in that conversation.
And this goes back to sort of to 54. So in Switzerland, Hungary are the best team. They've beaten them 8-2 in the qualifying rounds. They are not just the hot favourites. Everybody just expects it to be possession. Hungary got 2-0 up, Mark, in the game. But Germany win. And it's the first sign, you can't beat the Germans. Yeah. It's really difficult to beat them.
Really doesn't matter what you do.
Yes.
They're still going to find a way.
Absolutely right. So these characteristics of countries, which I think stayed probably right until, Brazil are the ones that have lost it the most, but right up until the 2002 World Cup with Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo up front. Those great Nike adverts, Mark, of '98, where they're in the airport and they, you just would watch that and go, you just go, this is amazing. Brazil are here. Yeah. There's something about Brazil, and this is how everybody feels, much more heightened in the '70 World Cup. And again, something I read the other day. Do you ever guess what extraordinarily popular amongst the neutral fan in Mexico? Which team were?
Who?
England. England were really popular.
Why can't I picture us being
I realise
people's choice?
This is
because they're winners? Because they holders?
Pre-English disease, pre-hooliganism,
very true.
Pre-England away following.
Yeah.
So England is the home of swinging England,
yes.
The Beatles, fashion, films. So suddenly,
which 66 was like the beating heart.
The beating heart. Players, everybody kind of, they look great. Very Bobby Charlton, nice lad, survived the Munich air crash.
Right.
Jeff Hurst scored a hat-trick.
Bobby Moore, poster boy.
Bobby Moore, absolute poster boy. So England, I was reading this, were like so many Mexicans second team. And you go,
amazing.
That's amazing. And of course, it makes sense when you describe, that's what they were in their history.
And what you do as well, but you also then, if you kept Alf Ramsey out of the way a little bit as well, you could add to that, because he kind of sucked the joy out of the room a little bit, dear old
Old elocution Alf.
Having said all of this, I introduced you, as Johnny knows it very well, is my bogus 1970s sticker book, which is not Panini. Panini is a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
It's by some blokes from London. There actually was a... Oh, look, see, I'll start to fill it out here. They were called FKS Publishing of Soho, 18 Soho Square. And I filled in here in felt tip.
They went on to porn a few years later.
Exactly.
There was more money in it.
I think they probably just took a year off from it. If I'm honest. Yeah. All of this build-up, I filled in the back, your personal souvenir record of World Cup results. Sunday, May the 31st. Group A, Mexico City, Russia 0, Mexico 0.
No, we've just built it up, and the first game was a 0-0 draw.
Absolute, flat as a pancake. But there it is in my own fair pen. I feel, but for some reason, I didn't fill in the third and fourth and final. I think we'll know the results there. That's
nostalgia is an astonishing thing and can affect all.
I can't spell Uruguay either, by the way. I couldn't in those days.
Your brain filters out sort of negative things, so I get it and all that. So like you're saying, somebody would quite rightly, somebody on the internet will go, but the first game was 0-0. It's a great point, but it gets better this tournament.
It does, and I think anyone who starts, you start playing top trumps World Cups.
Yes.
I defy you to say, I know this was the best month.
Let me ask you
because
a question,
of the
right?
hundreds of games
Clear your mind,
played.
right? I'm just going to sit you, right?
Yeah.
And this is you being brutally honest, and I'll be the same. Greatest goal ever, Mark?
Greatest, what, in a World Cup?
Ever. What's the greatest goal ever?
Oh, just a greatest goal ever. Oh, okay. Dennis Bergkamp, I think.
I would say Brazil versus Italy in the 1970 World Cup, the fourth goal, where they
with the run.
Okay, so
Carlos Alberto.
Greatest save ever?
Oh, it's called Banks.
There we are. When was that?
That was 1970. That was against Pelé.
What's considered the greatest game ever?
That is Italy versus Germany. Actually, funny enough, I get your point. So
who's the greatest player ever?
Yeah, exactly.
Maradona, Pelé.
Yeah.
So greatest team ever?
Yeah, exactly. So the Brazil 1970.
There we go.
So basically, you're right. This is what it. And then, as you say, in terms of spectacle, because it had never happened before.
Yes.
Is Mexico 70. So
I agree.
So you put it. You're right. You put the package together.
Let me just quickly. Let me just explain to you just a little bit about Brazil. Just to work this in quickly. So Brazil are England and everybody's second favorite team. Everybody's first favorite team, even Mexicans.
Yeah.
Is Brazil. There's a reason for this. They won World Cups famously in 58, 62. 66, they get kicked out of the World Cup. A lot of people say, but this World Cup, there's more protection. Apparently, there's going to be they're playing in their.
We also mentioned the episode
part of the world.
Episode 1. They were the team invited by Mexico to play the inaugural game at Azteca Stadium.
But what I found really interesting was when you do a bit of research into it, just to set Brazil up, right? They are managed by the legendary Mario Zagallo, right? Who popped up in '94. He was assistant manager when they won it.
Really?
Yeah, he was there in 2000. He was there in '98.
He must have been a baby.
I know. So he's the manager, but he won the World Cup. He won the World Cup himself in 58 and 62. So he's a legend. But they say to him, what are you going to do? And I always think of this. With England had that great period where everybody remembers where they had three world-class players, Scholes, Gerrard and Lampard. It was like one position. And the problem with England is they can't get brutal enough. They don't pick the player and all that kind of stuff. And they almost like talk themselves out of these three famous players. And he's at this press conference, Mark. I love this thing. And they go, what are you going to do, Mario? You've got Pelé, Rivellino, Jairzinho, Tostão, and Gerson. What are you going to do with all them players? He went, play them all.
Yeah.
And they went, but what about the defence? He went, don't matter. I got these. Imagine that now.
They famously said, and it's kind of it's really weird because you think 10, I think, is, the most iconic number you can wear on the back of a football shirt.
Yeah.
Not least of which is Jeff Hurst, Pelé, Maradona.
Yeah.
They use the expression roughly around that time. He said, I've got 5 10s.
Yeah.
Now, what that of course means is I've got the 5 forwards who aren't the centre forward.
That's right.
So what I'll simply do is stretch them in a line across the pitch and let them do what they're going to do.
And they they battered teams because they just had the ball all the time. They couldn't get
10
off
was
them.
inside left, wasn't it? In the olden
days.
It
was, wasn't it? It was kind of like tucked behind the 9 as well, wasn't it?
So you had a big lad,
yes.
and then you had the kind of the
stocky little lad who could,
So Pelé gets to be the genuine 10 by wearing the 10, but as you say, he's surrounded by fellas who can do the same job, or they'll just go and sit out wide if you need.
Yes, a great example of a modern day 9 and 10. I use a Welsh example because I always try to bring Wales into every conversation, as
Naturally.
I say. But when John Arts and Craig Bellamy played each other, it's a classic example of a 9 and 10. Quick whip it like 10, good feet, get behind the 10, and a 9 there who will just knock the ball into him and he'll knock somebody out the way and header it. That was the British idea of a 10,
That's right.
9 and a 10.
Machiavelli and Cotti did the same job.
Exactly.
At West
Great
Ham
example.
And they'll both explain why I'm the yin to his yang, and vice versa. It's because you're right. They dovetail.
Dalglishing rush. Hold the ball up, big arse.
Exactly.
Lay it off, skinny like a pipe cleaner, and he's on it and gone.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
The pairing is amazing. So I didn't think of us in cards. Of course, though, John, as part of this story, it could have all gone horribly wrong even before England got there.
Okay.
In terms of their popularity. And I refer to the infamous incident of Bobby Moore and the Bogota Emerald Bracelet.
We've got 5 minutes in this, Mark. You've got to tell us all about it.
So basically, they are in Colombia. This is
on the way to Mexico.
Exactly. So this
why have they stopped off in Colombia? A game or?
I think that basically they're in a hotel. It's kind of it's training camp.
Okay.
So they're making their way there. Of course, as you point out, they're arriving as champions.
And England are superstars.
Exactly.
They are not far off now. England, I would say, are probably the most highest profile team in this World Cup, would you say, players-wise? I mean, there's obviously Mbappe, there's a few others.
Yes.
But English players, I mean, Kane, Bellingham, right. But England then, top 5 most famous players there,
exactly.
2 or 3 of them are English.
Exactly, because basically there was, first of all, the home of football.
Yeah.
Wins it in 1966. That's the principle there. Scotland will remind you that also started there and they beat England after 1966, sort of as a side bet.
Just a quick slip on about Scotland, the World Cup. Did you know Scotland were invited to the 1950 World Cup, which is England's first World Cup?
Yeah.
Because it was the top 2 teams that won the home championship. And because they came second, the Scottish FA in a sulk went, and we're only sending us as champions. And Billy Wright wrote in person to the Scottish FA saying, don't be so stupid, send them to the World Cup. And the Scottish FA said, no.
So the Blazers dug their heels in.
And the place went to another team, not outside the home championship, it would have been Wales. And check this out, England went there and had the biggest nightmare. That was the World Cup they lost to America.
America, of course.
See?
Oh, Scotland.
Could have gone 1950. That was the World Cup in Brazil, which Brazil...
Yes.
This is great, just quickly, because we want to carry on with this. So Brazil hosted the World Cup in 1950, right? It's a weird group sort of thing they play. And it ends up, it's no final, but the last game is them in Uruguay, and all they've got to do is not lose. The Brazilians think they've so won, right? They've got parades planned, the tables out, all the rest of it. Jules Rimet, who we'll talk about in the next episode, so I'll give a thing in it, who was the guy that kind of invented the World Cup and becomes the president of FIFA and sort of like is the man behind it all. He's walking down with a trophy, which is, named after him, the Jules Rimet.
Yes.
And as he's walking down to the pitch to give it to the Brazilian, Uruguay have won the game, scored and won. Everybody invades the pitch annoyed. He said, I'm scared for my safety. Tables getting knocked over. He's thinking there's going to be a riot because Brazil haven't won. He finds the Uruguayan captain who was in the crowd trying to hide his way to this thing and hands him the trophy quickly.
That was it?
That was how they received the World Cup Uruguay in 1950.
Not the kind of ceremony with which they like to conduct
Imagine
it nowadays.
Is that you?
Son,
stick
it under your coat
shirt
and run.
True story. Isn't that fantastic?
Oh, dearing. Oh, yeah.
Do you know what? As a neutral, I'm so pleased that they lost now, Brazil. I'm like, good.
Yeah, because that's funny.
Because that's funny. Because if you were turning up going, it's a parade for it. And apparently Pelé cried that day and promised his father, famously, Dad, I'm going to win a World Cup for you.
That ain't going to happen again. No, exactly.
Oh, anyway, go on. So we're in Colombia with England.
So, yeah.
I was just thinking, are we going to go to half-time? I'm looking across at producer Tom.
I'll tell you what I'll do. We'll come back to it because what I should point out is that they do travel with a song ringing in their ears. I'll just touch on that.
Tell us. After the break, we'll tell you the name of that song that is in the charts at the time, I believe.
It was in the charts in Ireland at number 2 as well.
Wow.
Written by a somewhat surprising source.
There we go.
If I can just give you a quick clue. Shang-a-lang.
Oof. Hello, welcome back to part 2 of episode 2 of this epic about the World Cup in 1970 in Mexico. And we've just got to Colombia, where England, champions of the world at this point, are on their way to South America. A bit of a detour, actually. They've gone south of Mexico. Obviously, some kind of training camp or some kind of reason for the stop. There'll always be a reason. And then this huge scandal erupts, which Mark is going to tell us about, because it involves one of his boys. One of his West Ham boys, the captain of England, captain of West Ham, probably one of the most famous people, certainly in England, if not the world at that point, Bobby Moore.
So they arrive as you, and I didn't realise, as you say, the people's favourites, although they might not have got there. I'm going to hold that thought, because I just want to fill you in a little bit about the tune ringing in their ear. It's a really weird connection here.
It's a famous song.
It is. It's called Back Home.
Back Home.
It's a follow-up, of course, to 1966 World Cup Willie, as performed by the King of Skiffle, Lonnie Donegan.
That's right.
Born in Glasgow.
Was he?
Ended up in East Ham within a few months, but a Scottish-born performer sang the England World Cup song in 1966.
Wow. That's like Joe Baker. Joe Baker was a famous,
of course,
born in England, famous Scotsman. Couldn't play for Scotland.
Did he reluctantly not?
Yeah.
It was a big deal for him, wasn't it?
Because in those days, it was where you were born. Where you were born. If your mum was on holiday somewhere and you were born, sorry, that's it, son.
Simple as that.
You're playing for,
not like
France or Spain.
Not like did your uncle go on holidays there once. Jack Charlton's used that as obviously to great effect, didn't he, for the Republic?
Do you remember that spitting image scene where he goes, we're visiting the New Ireland team here. We've got Winston Churchill on the wing, roast beef, and up front is the Queen. That's very good. Anyway, go on. Yeah.
Right,
so they're in Colombia, okay?
Yeah, they're in. Right,
is this to get acclimatised, do you think?
Sorry, just going to give you back home. I'll give you a bit back
home. Yeah, sorry.
So it's from Back Home, as I mentioned, it was number 2 in Ireland. It was written by Bill Martin and Phil Coulter, teamed up in 1965. Phil Coulter was from Derry. This two also wrote Congratulations and Puppet on a String together.
But Eurovision songs?
Both Eurovision songs. I mean, Puppet won. Congratulations.
Second.
Bold song title came second.
That's right. Cliff Richard.
You imagine the tears. Congratulations.
Do you know what, though?
Wouldn't have taken it.
In all fairness, that should have won.
It was a good tune.
It was a decent tune.
And by the way, in 1966, when the World Cup was on, my mum was sending me down the hairdressers and set the barber, give him a Cliff Richard.
Did she?
Yeah, because he'd gone from being the rebel, quiffy bloke to that sort of short haircut,
that's right,
sort of fringy.
And again, Mark, another great example of the decline of this once great country, the fact that we used to storm Eurovision. Coming second was a disappointment, winning World Cups and having sort of all sorts. And look at us now.
But Cliff was plucky.
Yes.
He came down to back. But the great thing about this story again is, I mentioned, okay, Lonnie Donegan, 6 months in Glasgow. Bill Martin, who co-wrote Back Home, born in Govan, went to the same school as Sir Alex Ferguson.
Did he?
And played for Partick briefly. And ultimately, when he made his dough, bought John Lennon's house in Weybridge.
Ah, the Weybridge house.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
must have earned a bit of dough as well.
I think they were doing all right by then, because they also wrote for the Bay City Rollers, which you hinted at, Shang-a-Lang,
worldwide hits,
and
Mark.
Saturday Nights.
Worldwide hits, big in America. That's the key.
Saturday Night, of course, had that because Wayne's World, Mike
Myers.
Mike Myers did So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Yes.
And he did his dad, didn't he?
That's
who
right.
was Scots.
He did a great Scottish accent.
But basically, he kept going, he'd.
Yes.
He don't know where to.
Yes.
Apparently had a giant head.
It's got his own moon, that head.
But he sings night, Saturday.
That's right.
Walking around the living room. So Mike Myers sort of like channeled his inner dad, who was obviously doing the Bay City Rollers. So they were two massive hits for him, as you say. So Bay City Roller money bought John Lennon's house.
Just quickly, right? I remember being a kid about 16 and I was trying to get this chant going in Merthyr with my mates. I was in the schoolyard playing and I'm going, I got one for Merthyr. MERTHYYTWFIR. And they were going, do it again. And I was going, MERTHY. I spelled out Merthyr and they were going, it just doesn't work. Like it's too much of a mouthful. And they were going, but listen, it's just, it's
concentrate, kids.
But they weren't having it as all.
That's the great joke, which was in.
It was an M and an E and an R. An M and an E and an R and a T, an H and a Y and an R and a T, a T and an A and an FIL, Merthyr Tidbit, FC. They were like, what?
That's good.
Exactly.
That's great. Do you remember the joke of the Boys in the Black stuff? Who said, who's the most unpopular fan at Borussia Mönchengladbach? And they go, I don't know, as he say, give me a B.
It's half time. We've got to stop.
Oh, God
That's very good.
So, let me tell you about the Colombia.
Yes.
And And basically, you're right. It's a kind of pre-training camp. They're at the Fuego Verde Hotel in Colombia, and they've got a gift shop there. And an emerald bracelet goes missing, worth £600 at the time.
A lot of money at the time.
Now, obviously this has taken on kind of folkloric qualities. This particular
all
story.
kinds of theories on
and
this.
And the bit that I kind of always go back to, regardless of where the truth is this idea that, well, why would a footballer do all that? And the answer to that question might be, and I'm not pointing fingers at anyone here, is that just because you're a world champion English footballer in 1966, or rather 1970, didn't mean you had a load of money.
No.
Didn't mean that you could take something nice home with the missus when you come back from the football.
Yeah.
That's the modern footballer.
Yes.
That wasn't these guys then. You have to remember, Bobby Moore was trying to leave West Ham
to get extra
for
money.
Tottenham just to get some wages.
Yeah.
And Ron Greenwood wouldn't let him because he said, you won't play in the 66 World Cup if you do that. So there's a relatively recent Colombian podcast in which the shop assistant was spoken to again, said, no, I can almost certainly remember it was Bobby Moore took a bracelet. Now, Jeff Powell wrote Bobby Moore's book, and he talks there, and again, it's very veiled, I think basically to protect the innocent and arguably perhaps the guilty if this happened at all. Again, who knows? In quotes, a prank by a younger player that got out of hand is, to paraphrase, the way that everyone decided we'll settle on this.
Yeah.
But most importantly, though, on the day... Oh, by the way, conspiracy theory, that the Brazilian FA had set it all up so that Bobby Moore couldn't mark Pelé.
Well, this
which is probably, it sounds good.
Well, this will come later with Banks' stomach upset. But anyway.
Totally right, exactly. That's right. The conspiracy theories are there. But ultimately, apparently, which is legitimate, the British ambassador in Colombia gets involved and speaks to Colombian intelligence and says, I don't think we want a scandal here, because we are now talking about players being retained and therefore, and arguably, not even arguably, the captain of England being retained in Colombia and not playing in the World Cup finals. And apparently, and again, to paraphrase a quote, the magistrate was made aware of implications.
Oof. Oh, Mark, I just remembered. Just a quick question. Best tackle ever.
Oh, Bobby Moore.
There we go. So that's the same World Cup. I mean,
that's all in there.
You're taking them all off. Anyway, go on.
It's all in there.
So save, tackle, goal, team, match.
And let's be honest, best photograph ever. Bobby Moore and Pelé swapping shirts. I mean, that's an image which speaks volumes.
Yes.
But there you go. So that's where you are. And just to finish off that kind of picture of the England part of this, the iconic part. Yeah. You mentioned earlier about the fact that the well-turned-out young men in summer casuals with smart haircuts. The third kit that they played in, famously, I remember seeing them playing it, was a light blue kit.
I've seen that.
Umbro made this.
Yeah.
And it was Airtex shirts.
That's right.
Now,
Which basically was little holes in it.
Tiny holes, which to let the air circulate, apparently. What I didn't know, invented in Manchester.
Really?
In 1888, the Airtex company.
Wow.
It's the least English/Northern word to describe a piece. It sounds glamorous and exotic and Italian, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's like that's what it was. It was built for World War II. Women's Land Army and also for the combined forces fighting in the Middle East.
Same as Ventile, isn't it? That was invented in Manchester for the rain.
Yeah.
It was Churchill said, I need a cotton woven solar. It's waterproof.
Sunspell.
Yeah,
another firm just make this really beautiful light cotton.
In Long Eaton, just outside Nottingham.
Yeah, but
factory's still there.
Sounds exotic and Italian.
Yes.
That's all you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
So that shirt makes its appearance in there as well, and that light blue Airtex is part of the story as well. But you've touched on it already, John, is the reason that the England part of this story, or the iconography of this tournament, is in there. And
Bobby, just quickly, just in 30 seconds, he just gets let off, does he? They just go, all right. And
it kind of gets brushed under the carpet. Okay. I'm going to assume at some point.
All the newspapers and then all the rest.
Oh, no, but
it's an international incident, isn't it?
It's front page, as you say, it's an international front page story that seemed to have got out of hand and then seemed to go away. Bracelet, I don't know if the bracelet was ever found or not. I don't know if it ended up on a wrist somewhere.
I love Bobby for this. Bobby Moore, obviously, I grew up with my father going, what a... Bobby Moore is on one hand the classic English captain, beautifully cut, blonde hair, magnificent looking lad in a red top, all this thing. But Bobby was a character, loved going out, knew all the boys in the East End.
He was not this. He looked angelic, and was not.
But great fun, hugely loved, and a bit of a lad. So you can see how something, like this could go, lads.
Exactly. And again, much like Sir Alf, who took elocution lessons to get rid of that Essex Dagenham accent of his. I listen to Bobby Moore talk in those days when he's trying to just do his nicest voice. He's as charming as life gets. He's wonderful. But of course, you mention his sense of humour, and that crops up in one of the greatest sporting moments that you can be.
Is it a save?
It's called the save of the century.
Yes.
Which obviously wasn't the quiz from Norwich presented by Nicholas
Parsons. There's lots of the centuries in this tournament.
I know.
But you explained to us that this save is incredible. But basically, the ball comes in.
Yes.
It's a perfect header from Pelé, technically. He had his hit downwards,
which is
at
what
pace.
everyone's taught.
I've spoken to Frank Clark, who's played against him. He said Pelé was a magnificent physical specimen. He said he was strong, he could agile, he could get up and he could head the ball.
Because he wasn't a tall man, and he's got the height that he could get to.
The athleticism is incredible. And he headers the ball down. But I think Bobby Moore might even be challenging him for it.
He's there or thereabouts. He's basically, you look at the images, he's given up.
Yes.
He's gone, that's
and the ball's going into the net, and as everybody knows, even every time you watch, you think it's going to go in, and it bounces on the floor. And as it bounces upwards towards the net, Gordon Banks managed to get across, but get a strong enough hand underneath it as the ball, and hit and almost palm it over the top of the bar.
Yeah. It's impossible to work out how he could be so athletic and composed
and
at
strong,
the same time
to
get it all done.
It's magnificent.
If
you just YouTube now, just go on YouTube or Google Save of the Century, Gordon Banks, Pelé. It'll come up, and I guarantee when you watch, you'll go, I'm going to watch that again because that's going in the net. How does that not go in the net? But there's a funny moment that comes after.
There is. Can I just tell a little bit about Gordon Banks' pride, if I may, just before that? I kind of forgot about this, but Banks, come the end of that season, he's dropped for Peter Shilton at Leicester.
That's right.
And gets sold to Stoke. And you go, okay. So he ends up there. He won the League Cup there, and he had obviously.
But everybody tries to buy him. Do you know football then? Shankly tries to buy him.
Shankly. This I was going to say. Shankly wasn't sanctioned because they wanted a rental fee. Liverpool said no, you can't have him.
Yeah.
And Ron Greenwood had gone for him at West Ham.
Yeah.
But had already shaken hands on a record transfer fee for a keeper with Bobby Ferguson from Kilmarnock.
Right.
So he could have ended up at Liverpool or at West Ham. Wow. Gordon Banks ends up in Stoke. Matt Gillis is an absolute git towards him.
Yeah.
You're done. It's all over for you here. Refuses to pay his loyalty bonus. If they find out apparently in the end that Stoke pay it just to get the deal across the line, because for some reason Gillis had taken so against Banks at that particular stage in his career. But of course he arrives in very much the number one goalie in 59 caps, then Bonetti on 6 and Stepney on 1.
That's right.
So to lose him is a big problem.
Bonetti will enter stage left at some point.
Won't he just? But in terms of the corner, because we'll talk more about Banks and that in that sense, in terms of Germany, the save is made.
Yes.
It's a corner. And you see this, and actually the images are there, and when you see these words, it just adds so much resonance to those pictures that you see. Pelé turns to Gordon Banks and says, I thought that was a goal.
Yeah.
Gordon Banks says to Pelé, you and me both. And Bobby Moore walks up and goes, you're getting old, Banksy. You used to hold on to them. And then you see them all having a giggle.
Yeah.
It's like,
what football should be, Mark.
And in a weird way, all of the things that you talked about that made that World Cup so special, all of a sudden, that for me, that 10-second exchange is it.
I was very lucky just quickly, because I know this is going to end apart. I was there for the unveiling of the Gordon Banks statue in Stoke.
Oh, wow.
And Pelé was the guest.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Shook hands with Pelé. And Gordon Banks gave a wonderful speech, and he was still alive. And it's mad to think now, it would be in 2018.
Right.
Still as late, no, 2008. So still as nearly 20 years ago.
Yes.
All gone now. You know, it's like you think, you know, Banks has died, Pelé's died.
But isn't it wonderful that Pelé...
But they were there.
But Pelé wants to be there because he acknowledges the moment.
That's what he said.
Because plenty of our contemporary footballers, you sense, have outfield players have got something about them in which they would rather resent anybody making them knots, knocking them off their mantle.
Yeah.
Whereas Pelé says, wow, I can't believe I was part of this moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which makes him the special man that I think he was.
Which is what makes this such a special World Cup. And we're going to be coming back for another episode. Episode 3. Are we in episode 3 next?
We will be.
Yes. So if you're still enjoying this, which I'm sure you are, or if we haven't lost you after sort of talking about 1731 or something. But listen, come with us on this journey because we've still got to talk about so many things. Panini sticker books.
Oh,
got to talk about
that's next.
The game of the century. And I've got to tell you the story of the man who created the World Cup, Jules Rimet, which the trophy was named after, one of the most famous trophies in the history of sport that was given to a team because they won it 3 times.